Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Arbor Farm. Thank you for joining us. In this video I'm going to show you how we propagate blueberry bushes from softwood cuttings under mist in the summertime. You can see here part of our blueberry patch. We have over 60 blueberry bushes and we grow those in an urban setting, and the variety that we grow are the Elliot high bush. The Elliot high bush are great for northern climates, and that's where we are. We get hard winters, hard freezes, and they do very well in that type of climate. And then we also get very hot summers in the 90s at times with high humidity. And so the Elliot high bush is a great bush for that type of climate. Let's take a look at a specific bush, and it's July right now. They're getting berries on them, little green berries. None of them are ripe yet for this particular variety. It's a later variety, and we want to show you how you can choose the specific softwood cutting. What is the best cutting to take for the material to be used? So let's look at the material that you should select from your blueberry bush. Let's take a look at what type of material would be good to select for your cutting for softwood in summertime. Here, this bush has some brand new growth, and that growth is the very best. It already is growing very well, and it will continue to grow well to grow roots when we stick it in sand. And so this particular type of cutting, this very softwood cutting on the tip of the branches, is what we're looking for. You might be interested in knowing why we would take a cutting from softwood, the end, the tip there, why we selected that as opposed to, say, one of these harder pieces that has been established longer. You can see I cannot even wiggle that one at all, even though it's still green in color. It likely has contributed new growth to it this season, but that one we would not use as a cutting because it's not as rapidly growing. The ones that are soft and flexible, they are still growing really well, and so they are the best ones. We wanted to mention the importance of plant patents and patent laws. Before you begin propagating your blueberry bushes, you're going to want to do a little bit of research and find out whether the specific variety that you have is one that is currently under patent. If it is, you'll want to avoid that and find a different blueberry bush to take cuttings from. You can take as many cuttings or as few cuttings as you choose, and you generally, as a rule, we don't want to disturb the berries that are ripening on our bushes at this time of year, so we just take ones that are not affecting the berries, the ones either directly at the top or at the side that don't have any fruit that they are working on sustaining at this time. Now, once you have your cuttings, you're going to begin preparing those so that they can begin their rooting process. And for this, we're just using a container that we got at the dollar store, and we've poked some holes in the bottom and we've used some play sand in it. And we're just going to level that out, and then we will begin preparing our cuttings. So I'm going to grab our first cutting here, and you can see that it has several leaf nodes going up the side, and we want to strip all but the top 2 leaves. That's just what we do. We keep the top 2 leaves so that those can catch the mist in our misting system, and those will help to sustain this cutting while it generates some roots. After you have stripped the leaves and left the top 2 leaves of your plant, you're ready to dip it into some rooting powder And our cutting is already wet because we have kept it in a bucket of water to keep it fresh while we're working. And so we're just gonna dip it in the powder so that it has some on the sides and on the tip. And then we are ready to stick that cutting into the sand. And we're just going to stick it into the sand like that. And we will do that for all of the cuttings that we have selected to use to grow new plants. Going to prepare a few more cuttings here just to make sure that we're all on the same page as to how it should be done. I'm holding my cutting tightly at the top, and then I'm pulling the leaves and removing the leaves. And this one is ready to be dipped in the rooting powder. So I'm going to grab my rooting powder, and I don't know that it really matters what kind of rooting powder you use. I don't think it does, but just swirl it around in there until it's got some good coverage, and then it's ready to go in to the sand. Now the reason that we use a good size cutting like this and strip the leaves is because the best place that this stick has a chance of growing roots to create a new blueberry bush is at the leaf node. So that's why we have so many leaf nodes on here. Not that it's going to grow roots way up here when we're sticking in the sand down here, but the best chance of a plant growing roots is at the the leaf node. And also we strip the leaves because we don't want this cutting to have to try to sustain all these leaves while it is growing roots. It's impossible, in essence, for it to do both at the same time. Another detail that you might want to consider, since now we know that these leaf nodes are the best chance for this cutting to grow roots, is you might want to trim your cutting. I'm gonna do this so that you can see just below that leaf node. I'm gonna do it on an angle, and then this spot here is a leaf node, and so that's the best chance for this cutting to grow roots. And then I can dip it in my rooting powder and stick it into the sand. And there we go. Once you have filled up your pan or have taken the desired amount of cuttings, you're ready to stick it under mist, or as an alternative, you might choose to put it in a clear plastic tote with the lid slightly ajar, and that will work fine to keep the humidity level high so that your plants can root. Let's go ahead and take ours over to our misting system. If you haven't seen it before on one of our other videos, this is our misting system, and we have just used a couple of pallets here with mist overhead, time mist that comes on every 10 minutes for a duration of 10 seconds. And this helps our plants to stay in the game, to stay moist while they grow new roots. And so here are our blueberry cuttings that we have prepared today, and these are ready to go under the mist. And so they will begin to grow and create new bushes for us. Thank you for watching our episode today, and we hope that you found the content helpful. If so, we'd like to encourage you to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date as to when new content is posted. Thank you.